guys, we're going to do something a little different. This is a tag video from Karim from Are We Famous Now? And this is 20 things I've learned in my 20s. And sorry it took so long, Karim.
Well, 20 things is a lot, so Carmen and I have split it into 10 things each. I guess I'll go first.
Yes.
All right, so here are the 10 things that I've learned in my 20s. First one, talent only gets you so far. Hard work and dedication will determine your success. So guys, when I was growing up, I thought that all you had to be was talented and then you'll be whatever you want. But since then, you know, I've grown up to learn that you really need to put in time and dedication into anything that you really want to do well. So start working at it.
Okay, so actually, when people ask me what I've learned, this is the first thing I think of. And something I actually learned in New York, never, ever, ever enter an empty subway car because there's either going to be a really stinky hobo or the AC is broken and it's hella hot. This is something you learn, like, the hard way.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you experienced it.
Yeah. Don't abuse your body or you'll pay for it later. Okay, here's what I mean. You know, when I was growing up, I ate everything. Junk food, all kinds of crap.
No, I thought you would mean like drinking alcohol and taking drugs and all that stuff
okay.
too. That's what I was thinking when you said that.
Those things for sure, because they'll definitely catch up to you. But I'm also talking about more so like eating a lot. You know, even I don't drink or smoke. And you know, I realize that you might not notice it now, but by the time you get to late 20s and 30s, like it's gonna be a lot harder to turn back the clock.
At the end, everything is going to be all right. So for me, it's that, you know, sometimes when things happen, you're like, oh my God, it's so bad, blah, 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 blah. And then like a week later, it's not too bad. And then a year later, you're not gonna remember anymore. So don't stress out over it. It's going to be okay.
Learn to love yourself and accept all your flaws as well as your strengths. You know, growing up, a lot of times I was like, oh, I'm not good at this or I'm not good at that. You know, like we're all different. And I think it's good to know your strengths as well as your flaws, and it's totally okay that you accept them, and if you can try to make them better, then do. If not, then that's okay too.
Be nice, say please and thank you. So it sounds like a teaching the kids a lesson, but before I can tell you that I was it's not rude, it's just that I don't say it. So if you don't say it, people don't really like know that you appreciate them and things like that. So, but then when you say it, then people do feel appreciated, and they, you know, then you have better relationships with people, or even not with people, like even people like selling you a sandwich or whatever, they just feel better about themselves. You know, in New York, it's a cold place, so this might make their day. Be
humble. Don't think now that you're out of college, you know everything. So I think that this really applies to me because like when you graduate from college, you're like, yeah, or you know, if you're in your mid-20s, you're like, I'm gonna rule the world and I'm gonna go do this, and then you're like, wait a minute, I actually don't know a lot of things. And then you start looking at people you admire and you're like, wow, you know, they put in a lot of work and really a lot of dedication. So stay humble, and even if you are the best at what you do in the world, still stay humble.
Yeah, actually that was one of my points, but I kept it there. No. Being humble was actually one of my points, but
you might have a little different, so you should.
Well,
is it similar?
Actually, okay, I can tell you my story, but then it was I was gonna cross it out, but I used to be a lot more cocky because at school and stuff I was like, you know, number 1, number 2 or whatever. But it makes you really competitive in a way, and then your life is just not that fun anymore if you're always competitive, and like if you're not humble, people won't like you as much, literally. And then once you start being more humble, then you actually learn a lot more from other people, because if you're not humble, then you're like, yeah, I'm the best, I don't need to listen to you.
Right.
But once you start listening to other people, then you're like, oh, actually they have a point, like you actually learn a lot. But what I was gonna say is actually similar to what you were saying before. For me, it's like accepting your looks and work with what you have. You know, you might not think that, but I have a big head, I have really fat arms, I have short legs, and I have big feet. And then that actually, like, there was that one time that I was trying to audition for something and they said that I have these things and I cannot get in. So for a long time I was really sad about it. But and then when people mention it, I will, like, you know, tear up.
Oh.
But now I learn to accept it and just work with what you have, and this is what you're given.
Stop holding on to the past. Now, this one really hits home because, like, I grew up, I have great friends, great family, and a lot of times, you know, you're afraid to take the next step in your life. And, you know, 20, you do a lot of growing from the early 20s to your mid 20s to your late 20s, and sometimes you could be held back because you feel like, oh, well, I wish, you have these great memories. So hold on to the memories, but don't hold on to the past.
That's a good point. Be adventurous and order something new every time you go out and eat. Yeah, you can try it. If you don't like it, then you don't like it. But then if you don't try it, then you wouldn't know whether you like it or not. So try it. Don't worry about it.
Good point.
You might get food poisoning. I've had food poisoning a few times. But the times that you have food poisoning and the time you eat good food works out.
Surround yourself with talented, motivated, and positive people. I say this because a lot of times when you're young, you don't really have a choice, right? Like you're born and you go to school with the people you go to school, but when you get older, you're a grown-up, so you can choose who to hang out with, who to do stuff with, and and time is the only enemy that we have. And so I would say as you get older and the less time you have, it's really important to allot the time that will improve you.
Mine is keep practicing. So for myself, I learn Mandarin myself basically, and I still read Chinese every day. So when did I start? I think I started when I was like 9 or 10. When I started learning Mandarin. And for me is that I feel like I'm a Chinese person, so I need to know Chinese, and I thought that it will give me an edge when I'm an adult. So that's why I kept, learning it myself. I would like find materials to read online or like watch TV shows, listen to songs or whatever, and that's basically how I learned. I did go to Chinese class, but that's just like, you sing a song or whatever. It's not a big deal. So, but you yourself need to be motivated to do it. And like, even if you do a little bit every day, that's gonna help. So keep practicing. Practice makes perfect.
As long as you're alive, nothing is too difficult to overcome. That's kind of like what you were saying before, like at the end, everything's gonna be all right. I feel like at the end of the day, like you can get over anything, And especially like as time goes on, it's easier and easier.
Okay, this is the point that I'm still trying to learn myself. Remember, you're the only one that can make yourself happy. So sometimes you feel like, maybe it's your friends or family or school that's making you sad, but at the end of the day, you make the decision to be happy or sad about it. So still advice that I have to take myself, but I know this is what I need to do when I'm sad.
Give your parents a break. I know like when you're a teen, you won't want anything to do with your parents. You think like they're annoying and this and that. All you want to do is hang out with your friends, but your parents sacrificed their whole life to bring you up and make sure that you have an education, make sure you have, all the good foundational things to make you a better person later on. So give your parents a break. Thank them.
Well, actually, I have that point as well, but not in the same word. So call home whenever you can, especially if you moved out. Your parents miss you. So I know for Chinese parents, they don't really express themselves, and especially like my dad won't say anything, but he's pissed when you don't call him. Like my mom's like, oh, it's time to call your dad. He's always like complaining. He's like, oh, what's the point of like having kids? They just go up and then just leave home and blah blah blah. But that just means they miss you and they love you. So call home whenever you have a chance.
Try to put yourself in others' shoes more often. A lot of times you can get stuck in one perspective, your own, and you don't see things from other perspectives. And a lot of times if you just try to put yourself in someone else's shoes, like a whole world will open up and you're like, oh wow, yeah, I didn't realize that this affected them and they have to think about this, and it could really change the way that you think about other people for the better.
Being a YouTuber is hard. Like when I first started this, I was little short web videos, but like when you work on it and you really put the dedication, like each video, even though it's a couple of minutes, it's like days of work of many people. So being a YouTuber is hard, and actually a lot of you might have mentioned in videos that I've lost weight. Yes, I've lost weight, not because I'm dieting or working out or anything. It's because I'm working on this, and it's a lot of work. So yes.
Stop trying to change others. I'm not saying don't try to help others, but like the specific like, oh, I'm gonna change them mentality. Like I've pretty much gotten rid of that because it's like you can't change anybody.
All right, my last one is also everyone has a different life journey, destiny, so there's no point being jealous or envious. So I think that's also something that I've been working on as well. Like when I see someone that's more successful or better than me, I become jealous and envious. But then I realize that, not everyone can be the same. Not everyone can be number one. Although you can work towards it, but you might be better at other things. So there's no point being jealous or envious of other people because this is your life and it's not your, This is your life.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it, and we want to tag a few of our friends. So the Clunes, Yellow Paco, Fong Brothers, Seeing Banana, Carlos Do, Stephen Lim, China Uncensored, Learn Chinese Now, and just putting out there, see if they would do it. JK Films, Bob's Beauty, Genie Boy TV, David So, and Community Channel.
Who's actually from Australia,
I
like
know.
you.
And you guys, if you want to do it, give us a response video below. We would love to see what you've learned.
And you don't have to limit it to 20. You know, if you're like in your teens and you're like, I learned so much, or your 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever. 90.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like in your teens, maybe 10 things.
Yeah.
If you're 30s, 30 things, maybe you learn more.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
See
We're
you later.
looking forward to your responses.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for watching.
Bye.
Yeah.